Hey whales, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's July the 30th. Let's recap the markets and go over the top stocks to buy for today. And as always, before we get started, let's review our trades so far this year to see how we're doing. You can see we're doing really well, guys. We're up 90.6K USD in profit, 60% win rate as well. Right, we started off with 100K at the beginning of this year, so we're super proud of ourselves. Great performance so far. And you can see from the calendar view here in the month of July, we're up 9.8K USD, solid month overall with about 2 days left. So let's see if we can keep up this momentum going into August. And again, guys, all the trades that you see here, they're all posted, like Uber, Delta Airlines, Google, all posted here in Discord, right? So you get the day trade ideas, and then also for the swing trade ideas for those that are busier with their lives, right? This is perfect for you. So I look forward to seeing you here in the Discord. The link is in the bio for you to join, as well as right here in the watermark stockwhale.vip. All right, so with that said, let's jump in, guys. So before we dive in and do this rapid fire, I do love trading multiple different patterns. The first pattern is the inverse head and shoulders pattern. This is typically where we find bottoming formations, reversals, and we love to trade that. We also love bull flags, guys. Bull flags are typically a continuation patterns within uptrends. And then also I like to look at pullbacks on really great names, right, that I'm eyeing. And then also finally earnings beats. So companies that have just beat their earnings this last Q2 of 2025. So we like to see and keep an eye out on what they're doing, some big names here, and see if we can find some entries as well moving forward. All right, so let's jump into the inverse head and shoulders. The first one on our list is Grab, guys. So you can obviously see Grab is looking pretty good on the daily time frame. Inverse head and shoulders starting to form. We're starting to get a flag formation and retracement as well. So anything around these levels, guys, could make sense to start positioning yourself in for a target higher on a breakout. So if we take some fib extension levels, right, you're looking at Grab potentially to 641 up to 760, guys. All right, so let's see if it can sort of break out, and it's starting to break out a little bit. Okay, we're trying to break past this neckline support or resistance that's been sort of forming over the last couple months here. So it's finally over it. So let's see if Grab can push higher. The second name on the list is Lener, guys, LEN ticker symbol. You guys know I've been huge and big bullishness on home builders. I've been mentioning this to you guys over and over again, but home builders should look good for 2026. You can see the inverse head and shoulders starting to form. And as long as sort of this level at $98 can hold on Lener, you're going to continuously see this start having a new reversal and uptrend, right? We had this large downtrend across 2025, starting to move sideways now. This looks like accumulation for higher. And as you guys know, we've been in DHI for quite some time from the lows. So DHI is the competitor of Lener for home building, and you know what happened with DHI. It exploded towards the upside, and we made a lot of money. So let's see if Lener can do the same. The next one, sticking with the home builders, right? See if my charts can load here. Might have to reload my chart, guys. Give me a sec. All right, there we go. So keeping with the home builders, guys. So this is NAIL, NAIL. This is the daily home builders and supplies 3x bull shares, guys, right? So ETF on home builders looking very good. Same thing as Lener. So keep a lookout. I think home builders are the next ones to go, right? It's been lagging the markets quite a bit. All right, next one, next formations we love to go into are the bull flags. So let's take a look at sort of the flags here, everything from pennants to flags to accumulation. So the first one on our list is Apple. So Apple's been consolidating here quite some bit. It's been sort of moving sideways. You can start seeing we're making possibly an ascending triangle formation off the lows, right? So anything around here could make sense for a starter position going into Apple to reverse this trend. I do think if the S&P 500 pulls back, it's going to rotate into names like Apple moving forward, the ones that have been lagging in the Mag 7. Our next ticker symbol is Accelera, ABCL. So you can see pulling back nicely in a flag formation across the moving averages here, right? So you have some pretty good support across the 417 up to 457 level, guys. So keep a lookout for this flag formation for continuation higher on ABCL. Next one I do like is Cisco. Cisco's looking pretty decent as well. Huge uptrend, great name, and you can see we're starting to form a bit of a higher low situation, coiling. So, you want to always go with the trend. So if the trend remains bullish, we're going to see Cisco continuously push up higher as well. Next one is BITX, guys. This is the Bitcoin strategy ETF. So Bitcoin has been doing really well this year, and you can see we're starting to coil and make a flag as well. So look for, Bitcoin to do another continuation higher. You're starting to see some good support starting to come into play, right, on the last sort of breakout levels, okay, across these highs around 58 to 60 bucks. Could make sense for BITX. Another name that I like is Delta Airlines, guys. Delta is starting to coil up as well. We're starting to form either, a wedge or a flag here. Looking very nice, sitting on top of and resting on top of some of these resistances that turned into support, okay? So keep a lookout for Delta between 51 and 54 bucks here for a chance higher. GD, we've been mentioning GD from the lows, right, back at 296 with a flag, and it's starting to form another flag, guys, another flag on GD. So might sort of consolidate quite a bit here. So keep a lookout before higher, right? A great name, just beat its earnings as well. Another name that we like is Hilton. Hilton is looking pretty good. We started to form this flag, okay? Starting to break out a little bit, and you are getting a mini inverse head and shoulders on the 1 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame here. So Hilton is starting to look a little bit more bullish. So keep a lookout for Hilton pushing higher. And as you guys know, right, for Hilton and other names, I am bullish on sort of like the travel and leisure industry. So airlines, Hilton, stuff like that. Hewlett Packard starting to flag out, looking pretty good. All right, so either we're forming a flag like this or starting to form a triangle, ascending triangle, okay, formation like this, okay? So it's moving on the moving averages quite a bit, holding support, so looking strong. And keeping with the airline themes, Jets, right, the ETF for the airlines, okay? So you got United, you got Delta, you got American Airlines, all within this ETF, looking strong here on the moving averages and consolidation. Another name, Roblox, right? Kids' favorite here. Okay, my kids cannot stop playing this, so keep a lookout. Higher low situation starting to form on the moving averages. So looking flaggy and looking triangle-y. Okay, if that's even a word here, look for this potential continuation pattern. Another name that we think is pretty interesting is Reddit here. Reddit, you guys can see we are testing sort of these main supports down here. Okay, starting to coil up into maybe a cup and handle formation, right? So as long as Reddit can stay above sort of these lows at 138, and even then, if it does break down, I think Reddit's a great name to hold. Okay, so keep a lookout for Reddit for continuation higher. Another name that we like is Tesla, guys. Tesla, even with all the negative news, it's holding, guys. It is holding quite viciously, okay? Coiling pattern, very similar to Apple. If the S&P 500 goes down, will Tesla go up? That's the question in trade in second dimension. So, Tesla, Apple have been lagging in the Mag 7s while everything else has already reached all-time highs or close to it. So will the money start flowing into companies like this? Possibly. So keep a lookout for Tesla. Another name, Trip, guys. Trip Advisor. Again, we're sticking with the leisure names. We do like Trip on another sort of lower low here. Start coiling for a flag before higher, okay? And then finally, Twilio. So we like software names a little bit. So Twilio is looking pretty flaggy, looking pretty interesting here as well. So keep a lookout, starting to, find some support down here on the moving averages. So anything around like 126 down to 121 could be a good landing zone for Twilio moving forward. All right. With that said, let's go to the pullback session. So the pullbacks are companies that I like, that looks interesting. So you can take a look at Chipotle. I eat Chipotle almost every week, guys. So I love Chipotle. And this could be a pretty good time to go into an amazing, fast casual company. You can see every time it's around the 200 moving averages, what did it signal? It signaled a bottom here. So Chipotle could be very interesting moving forward on sort of these levels. Okay, let me just take some confluence. Right, can still dip a little bit lower to the 618 around these main support areas at 39, but I wouldn't be, opposed to having a starter position on Chipotle right now, if ever, and sort of DCA down there. Chipotle looks pretty good. I love the food, so possibly a great name there. Another one is China FXI, guys, FXI. Okay, so pulling back on the 4-hour time frames here. Okay, so China has been doing pretty well lately. And I see a potential buy-in zone starting to form, right? We are coming across sort of these levels here. That makes sense. So if you want exposure outside the U.S., this could be sort of the time to start going into China stocks in a China ETF outside of the U.S. So looks pretty bullish, right? Higher highs, higher lows. So keep a lookout for FXI. Another name that I like is Uber, guys. So Uber is looking pretty interesting here. If I take the swing lows to the swing highs, just to get some levels, we are at the 618 from the last daily higher low. So this is the last daily higher low. It needs to hold at 81.90. As long as this level holds, any pullback is considered a potential buy for continuation to make a higher high. So, right, we're making higher lows or higher highs, higher lows. So if we're going to keep going with this uptrend, this would be the levels to keep a lookout for Uber to continue going higher. All right, let's keep going. Sorry, my dog is barking. All right, next one. The next section that we like to see is earnings beats, guys. So we like to take a look at companies that have beat earnings and keep an eye out on what they're doing. So the first one is ASML, guys. ASML, great company, just really bad guidance, but you can see we're making an inverse head and shoulders pattern starting to form as well. So if ASML can hold the very low of these 2025 lows back in April at 578, okay, any dip is considered a buy, especially around the 618 level. So keep a lookout for the 650s, all right, for a potential chance. So something like this before higher. For DHI, you guys know we've been in DHI for quite some time. And again, home builders like Lenner, like we mentioned, right? We've been in here, these zones, and great sort of uptrend so far. We're going to keep pushing DHI higher. So you can buy the dips on DHI. Google's looking very strong here. Any pullback is considered a buy. Where we have a golden cross on the daily starting to form as well. So if the moving averages keep going higher, any pullback, right, is considered a buy. Have that inflection point with the moving averages forming. IBM's an interesting one as well. I mean, take a look at the last time IBM has reached the moving averages on the 200 daily. Okay, we are very close to this, so it would make sense to start building a starter position on IBM. Great company, it won't go anywhere. Another one is Micron Technology, guys. We're on the moving averages here, right? We've been mentioning this. So anywhere between like 99 up to 108 could make sense. You have all this sort of support on the left here as well, right? So Micron's a good company. Keep a lookout for Micron. Netflix is on the moving averages as well. I do like it a little bit lower, but these are possible starter position levels to go into, and you can add another one if it does come down a little bit lower, right, around these main support areas for Netflix. It had a great earnings, guys. Beat across everything. So keep a lookout for Netflix if you wanted to get in moving forward. ServiceNow, amazing company as well. I mean, it's a behemoth. It's a beast. But it's a little bit rich. I would like it a little bit lower. Right at the 382 at 913 down to 812. These are levels to keep a lookout for ServiceNow. Okay, and you're looking at possible 1,150 to 1.3K as the main targets. PepsiCo. So PepsiCo is starting to form an inverse head and shoulders potential, right? So a pullback does make sense for a potential buy here. It is making a little bit of a flag. Okay, so I do like it a little bit lower for PepsiCo. I mean, if it can come down just a little bit closer to maybe like 139. This is a level, maybe 134 is even a better level here on PepsiCo. And as long as this low can hold, at 127, still possible for a buy position. Another great name is T-Mobile, guys. So I've been in T-Mobile since 2023, guys, 2023. So T-Mobile is looking pretty interesting to sort of try it again, okay? Starting to bounce off on the weekly moving averages here. There is still a little bit of separation from the 200 moving average. So I might not buy it now because I'm still in from 2023 lows, right? So I'm going to just wait a bit. But, these are levels that make sense for potential to go into. You're starting to get an inverse head and shoulders as well. So this could be the lows, guys, right? We don't know yet, but T-Mobile is the best mobile carrier. You can't go wrong with that added to your portfolio. TSM, yeah, very extended away from the moving averages. I don't like to chase here. We're about 14% away, right? The last time was 12% away before a drop. Last one was like 22%. So it is extended quite a bit, guys. I'm not sure I would get into TSM at this point, but definitely on my list if it sort of goes a little bit lower, right? Closer to maybe the low 200s. And then finally, Visa, guys. Visa just had its earnings, did great. Just again, it looks like the theme for this year has been beat earnings but goes lower. Okay, so for Visa, just consolidating here, but I do like it a little bit lower at 343. There is a pivot here at 350. Can bounce off there if it's bullish, right, to 365. Something like this. And then a better level would be down here at 328. So I like Visa down here as well. If it does break the lows, okay, and then goes higher. So I keep a lookout for Visa as well. Great name. I've been in Visa since 2023 as well. So I'll talk to you guys soon. And again, come join Discord. We're absolutely killing it there, guys. If you can take a look, right, we have the day trades, the swing trades every single day, long-term ideas that I go into for my investment portfolios. Swing trade signals, exactly the signals that I go in. Options, right? We do the weekly options. Long-term portfolios, right? For my retirement accounts, 100x baggers. So these are very risky names that we love to go into. You get the daily video updates every single morning as well. Quantum whale, right? This is our indicator that tells you exactly when to get in and get out based on our proprietary algorithm. You get the daily charts every single day. So for instance, for Google, you get it updated every single day. For Netflix, for Nike, for Nvidia, right? You get all these charts every single day so you know exactly what to expect, as well as the weekly charts across all the different industries like financials, industrials, consumer discretionary, real estate, so you know where the money's flowing into, what to expect moving forward. So again, I look forward to seeing you here. And yeah, let's make a lot of money together.